When Americans hear pest control, the first reaction is usually casual. Oh, that's just spraying bugs. Isn't that a once-a-year thing? Can't I just buy something from the store and handle it myself? These are fair assumptions. Most people only think about pests when they actually see one. So let's slow this down and look at what's really happening. The first thing to understand is this: pest control is not about insects. It's about peace of mind and prevention. People don't call pest control because they enjoy it or because they're bored. They call because something crossed a line. Ants showing up on the kitchen counter, cockroaches in an apartment building, termites quietly damaging the structure of a house, rodents moving inside walls and ceilings, mosquitoes making a backyard unusable. Once that happens, the question is no longer, can I do this myself? The question becomes, how do I make sure this never happens again? In the US, this problem never really goes away. Most homes are built with wood. Suburban neighborhoods are spread out with lawns, trees, basements, and crawl spaces. Weather changes constantly, and pests don't take breaks or follow seasons the way people think they do. They reproduce year-round. They adapt quickly, and once they find a food source or shelter, they come back. That's why pest control isn't an emergency purchase. It's an ongoing need. And that's what creates steady, reliable demand. The biggest misunderstanding is thinking pest control is a one-time service. It isn't. Most customers don't just want pests removed once, they want them kept away. Pests come back because weather changes, nearby homes aren't treated, and construction disturbs nests. That's why pest control runs on monthly, bi-monthly, or quarterly plans. People aren't paying for chemicals, they're paying for peace of mind. Once someone trusts a pest control company, they rarely switch. Does this business require constant supervision? Much less than people think. Pest control is a route-based service, not a custom job every time. The work is standardized. Technicians follow set treatment plans, fixed routes, and recurring customer schedules. The same homes get serviced again and again. Modern pest control companies rely on systems: route planning software, automatic billing, customer records, and service reminders. The owner isn't out spraying houses daily. Their role is managing schedules, systems, and technicians not doing the labor. What about liability and risk? This is a common concern, but the reality is straightforward. Pest control is a regulated industry. Licensed companies use approved chemicals, follow clear safety rules, and carry insurance. Risk is controlled through procedures, not guesswork. Your responsibility is limited to proper application, employee training, and following safety standards. You are not responsible for pre-existing infestations, customer behavior, or pests coming from neighboring properties. Because expectations and regulations are clearly defined, liability is predictable. Compared to businesses like restaurants or construction, where accidents are constant and visible, pest control risk is structured and manageable. Is competition too high? At first glance, pest control feels crowded because every city has multiple providers. But competition here doesn't work like retail or e-commerce. This is a local, trust-based service. Customers are not comparing 10 companies every year. They care about very simple things. Does the technician show up on time, explain the issue clearly, and actually solve the problem? Once a homeowner or property manager finds someone reliable, switching feels risky and annoying. It means new inspections, new chemicals, new schedules, and letting a new technician into their personal space. Most people avoid that unless something goes wrong. This natural friction keeps customer churn low and creates long-term stability for operators. Let's talk about money realistically. Yes, there are upfront requirements. You need licenses, basic equipment, service vehicles, insurance, and trained technicians. That's the entry barrier. But after setup, the financial structure becomes very predictable. There's no inventory sitting on shelves. Chemicals are used gradually and purchased in bulk. Labor is planned around routes, not random jobs. Most revenue comes from recurring service agreements, not one-time visits. As routes get tighter and technicians handle more stops per day, operating costs per customer go down. That's why margins improve over time. This predictable, contract-based cash flow is exactly why private equity firms acquire pest control companies and roll them into regional platforms. They're buying stability, not hype. Important reality check. Pest control is not a glamorous business. You're dealing with problems people find uncomfortable or unpleasant, but that discomfort is the advantage. Homeowners don't want to experiment with termites, rodents, or infestations that could damage property or health. They don't want trial and error. They want certainty. They want the issue handled quietly, safely, and consistently. That willingness to pay for peace of mind is what keeps demand steady. How this business scales? Scaling pest control is operational, not creative. You don't need new ideas every year. Growth happens by adding more routes, hiring additional technicians, or acquiring smaller local operators with existing customers. The systems remain the same: scheduling, billing, routing, and compliance. Demand stays local and constant. Revenue compounds because contracts renew automatically. You're not dependent on trends, branding, theatrics, or constant marketing experiments. Why pest control keeps working? People will always want clean homes, safe families, and protected property. Pests don't disappear. Construction keeps disturbing habitats, and prevention is cheaper than emergency treatment. That's why customers keep paying month after month, often without thinking about it. Final thought. Pest control isn't exciting. It isn't flashy, but it is clear, repeatable, and predictable. And in business, clarity and consistency almost always outperform excitement.